What up? This is Rama Screen, and I've got an interesting interview for you today. I'm here talking with one of the most talented character actors in the business, and she's now also an acting coach, Gloria Garayua. How are you, Gloria?
Great. Thanks for having me, Rama.
Good, good, good. Now, before we go any further, I just want to, I don't know if you remember this, but this is not our first conversation.
No, I know.
Yeah. You and I have met at the Carney Awards some 5 years ago or so.
I
Uh,
feel like I see you at all the red carpets.
that's true. So we kind of go way back a little bit here. So good to see you again. Now, I know that you are dying to talk about your acting school video series, which I'm sure my viewers would love to know about. But I just got to talk to you first about my recent favorite Netflix show, MAID.
Oh,
Yeah, you showed up on episode 9. I was like, whoa, that's Gloria when I saw it. Now,
very pregnant.
exactly, exactly. I've seen the episode. I loved it. But for my fans at home, can you tell them what your character is? What is your role on episode 9 of Maid?
Yes, I booked a guest star on Maid. I'm in episode 9. I play a very pregnant hoarder. It's actually a very sad but beautiful story about Maid, and my character is the catalyst for what helps her get out of her situation, because it's called Maid because she becomes a maid to get out of domestic violence and to sort of just uplift her life. She has to make that money. She has to go to school, take care of her kid. So she does it through housekeeping. And my character is the one that really gets her going.
Uh,
So yeah, in episode 9, I'm a hoarder, which is very sad. And it's obviously a real thing. Many people know about that, but it's very psychologically connected hoarding. So I had to do a lot of research on that. And the episode is actually very touching.
so you revealed on your Instagram photo, about your prosthetic thing, the belly that you have to wear. How comfortable or uncomfortable was it walking around while wearing that thing?
It wasn't comfortable.
Okay.
I imagine that's what it's like to really be pregnant. It was supposed to be a 9-month baby bump. They got a very good prosthetic. It was, I forget what the material is, but it was very heavy. And the back part of it is wrapped like around a bodysuit, and the under part of it snaps together in your lady parts. And so going to the bathroom was interesting.
Now, I've met and interviewed the star of that show, Margaret Qualley, before. But let me ask you, how was your experience working with Margaret Qualley, especially when the cameras were not rolling? Because we always hear stories about, oh, this celebrity was not really nice in person, or that celebrity was actually nice in person, so on and so forth. But what was your impression of Margaret Qualley? What kind of on-screen collaborator was she?
You know, the day that I worked, I only worked one day. Believe it or not, we
Mhm.
shot all of that in one day. It was a very long day. She shook my hand, and I was surprised because with COVID, no one shakes hands anymore. And, we were trying to be COVID safe on set. So I
Mhm.
didn't expect her to shake my hand. So already from the very beginning, I thought, oh, this lady's very nice. But, I actually did talk to her very little on set because my character was so emotional that
Mm.
between takes, I would just walk away. So hopefully you should ask her if she thought I was nice, because she'll probably be like, Gloria's a bitch. Because I really didn't speak to her much between takes. I was
Mm.
very, very concerned about my role
Mm.
because I only had one day to shoot all this and I wanted to do a good job. So I just walked away and tried to like get the tears going and stay in my head. So I don't think I was much fun on set that day.
That actually goes along with my next question because it truly amazed me, your performance on this episode. As soon as the door opened, we could immediately see the fear on your character's face, because Penny felt so ashamed and embarrassed. She didn't want the world to know of her secret being a hoarder. And that expression was so genuine, and you're on the brink of tears the whole time. So I guess my next question for you is, how did you manage to pull that off? What is your secret to making that look as convincing as you did?
I have life experience with keeping secrets, and we all do. We all have something we hide, and I'm so glad you noticed that because because I am a working actress, no one ever says good job to me, or no one ever says, hey, that specific thing you did. No one just makes a comment. So it's nice to know that you actually noticed what I was working on. I wanted her to not anticipate what was about to happen. She was worried about bringing someone in the house. She was definitely ashamed. but she wanted to act cool at the beginning as much as she could. She knew she needed the help, but she was frightened to let her in and frightened to let her into her world, right? So it's a beautiful metaphor. And so, yes, that fear was there at the top. I was trying to keep her as conversational as I could, knowing very well what was about to happen. But really, as soon as I let her in the door, everything was exposed. And as an actor, I know what it feels like to be vulnerable because that's my job. So as soon as I opened that door and she walked in, the secret was, exposed. And it was very scary to let someone in. And then my son, who's nonverbal, is also in the midst of this. I don't want her to think I'm a negligent parent. So there was just a lot of shame associated with that. And the third scene, you can see that I told her, I'm a member of an online Facebook hoarders group, and that took a lot to admit. And one of the things I played on that is, gosh, I can't afford what she should be paid, but maybe I can pay her through references. And so it was very shameful for me to even ask if that was okay. But when she said yes, it just meant so much to me because I didn't want to take advantage of her. I was just in a bad situation and I couldn't pay what she was due.
Well, here we go. Good job, Gloria. Great job.
Thank you.
You did amazing on that episode. So that's the perfect segue to our next topic. So for my viewers at home, please explain to us about your new acting video series for beginners.
Okay, so it's called Acting for True Beginners. And actually, I'm not new to coaching. I just don't really talk about it. I try to keep the two careers very separate because I don't want the acting people to see me just as a teacher. And I don't want teachers to, well, all my teaching students know that I'm also an actress. I think that's one of the selling points of me being a coach. But I wanted to keep the two things separate. And so no one knows that I've actually been coaching for 20 years. It's a really long time. But I get a lot of inquiries from around the world, actually, and mostly from beginners. And I'm very, very grateful, but I can't serve everyone because there's just so many hours in the day. And the way I teach is one-on-one. So I decided to create this course. So I have pre-recorded my lessons in the form of these TED Talks or lectures. And I made 17 videos, all of them ranging between 1.5 to 7 minutes. And a quiz. I also created a guidebook. And so oh, I thought you told me to stop talking.
No, you froze for a minute there.
Okay, I'll shut up.
So.
I'm good.
Yeah, just pick up where you were. Go ahead.
Okay, so I created this online video series for actors and towards beginners is who it's geared to. However, I'm also saying it's a refresher. I've been teaching long enough to know people forget things all the time. And people that are not beginners feel very offended if you call them a beginner, but yet we all need a refresher of the basics. So if people are curious, if they think this is for them or not, at my website, gloriagarayua.com, there's a table of contents. And so people can look at the subjects and see, oh, let me see if I want to check this out. The truth is, if they're not a beginner, but they don't know me, it's still a good course for them because they're new to me and my style and how I teach vocabulary. In fact, a good friend of mine from New York bought this and called me and he's like, you taught me stuff I didn't know. He bought it just to support me, but he watched it anyway. And was very enthused by what he heard. So I feel very proud and confident that this is good for anyone who's either been acting curious or just someone who is nervous to jump into a group class or intimidated to do one-on-ones. Instead, they can watch these lessons from the comfort of their home and test themselves. It's self-study, self-guided, so you can take as long as you need. And I think that this is going to be very good for anyone who really benefits from stopping, rewinding, replaying.
Now, I read on the note that you gave me, apparently there's a range from preteen to adults. I mean, are there various levels of difficulties to your approaches?
Good question. So I actually decided to speak to an adult audience because I've been teaching long enough to know that preteens and teens can rise to the occasion of adult learning if you treat them with respect and maturity. So no, I didn't speak in a specific way for kids because that would detract adults. And I didn't want to speak purely too sophisticated because I would lose my younger audience. So I really think that all my 20 years of experience allowed me to nail the speech pattern and the examples that I could give that could actually be beneficial for all those ages. It was hard to do, but I really did consider my audience very strongly. So I think I did a good job. You'll only know when you watch it. Yeah. But no,
Uh,
it's not. It's not just for kids or just for adults.
I'd have to ask you this question. What are the fees? How much does this cost?
Well, at the moment, I priced it very low. I did that on purpose. This could be a beta phase for me. I might raise the price in 2020. I've been considering it. As you know, when you start a business, it's always kind of tough. So in the beginning, you have to do things like this to help promote it. So right now, I have it at $29.99 for a monthly subscription, which is nothing.
Yeah.
Actors should know that if you pay for an adult acting class or even a kids acting class, it's usually about $400 a month. And if you're
Wow.
seeing, oh yeah, but that turns out to be like 100 for per week if you're seeing that teacher weekly.
Mhm.
But if you see someone privately for one-on-one acting lessons, the fee could be anywhere to like 125 or $200 per hour. And I charge about that. I charge 125 for my hour right now. So 29.99 is nothing. And you can keep it for as long as you want. You cancel the subscription at any time. And I love doing that because I know that life comes at us and keeps us from doing some things on our to-do list. So if you buy the series and don't get around to it, you're not breaking the bank by keeping it for another month. So it's one of the reasons why I price this so low at a subscription basis. I'm not sure if it will stay there. So let's let your audience know if they're interested. Now is the time to buy. And I do have a discount code for anyone who's interested in purchasing. Actually, I launched September 7th. So I've been selling this for a month. So the code ends in 2 days. So October 7th. And the code is summer in all capital letters 21. It's not summer anymore, so that's why it's ending soon. But they get 30% off, which makes this $20.
Mm.
So it's really well priced for anyone who's been intimidated to acting classes because of budget reasons.
Mm.
So yeah.
I've always been interested in learning how to cry on cue. Does your video teach you how to do that, like an on and off switch button?
I don't think crying is a basic skill. I think that would have to be more in advanced, maybe even intermediate classes. I did
Gotcha.
think of that, but trust me, I think that would definitely scare a few people away.
So you mentioned something earlier that kind of caught my interest. Was there really a stigma associated with, like, if you are known in the Tinseltown as more of a teacher than an actress? I mean, like, and then which one do you enjoy more doing than the other?
Oh, acting. 100%. It's what I was born to do. It's what I went to school for. I have my BFA in acting,
Of
which is
course.
another thing that I think sets me apart as a coach. So coaching to me is interesting. I never pursued it. It fell in my lap and never went away. And I
Mm.
think it's because I'm good at it. Ever since I graduated college, I started teaching in the form of doing post-play discussions. If I was doing a theatrical piece, I remember working with the Girl Scouts, teaching them acting after school. Then I started doing other after school programs. Then before you knew it, I moved to Hollywood and I kept that up. And then I was being offered teaching positions at schools.
Mm.
And then it all kind of transformed, even before COVID, into one-on-one private, online and in person. And it's never gone away. And I think it's because I'm good at it. Plus, people like that a working actor teaches,
Mm.
and not just any working actor, but someone that has as many credits as I do. I've been in LA for 17 years and I have, I think, over 65 credits,
Wow.
a few series regulars under my belt, TV, film, commercial, print, voiceover. And like I said, a lot of people are attracted to the fact that I have my bachelor's in fine arts. So I didn't just overnight decide to become an actor. I actually have training. And a lot of my students do books. So that's another thing that makes me stand out as a coach. So I decided to keep them separate just because I didn't want one to affect the other. And
Mm.
as an actress, I want to be seen as an actress, not an actor that does something else on the side.
Mm.
So I decided to do this series because I think it's going to really help get some of my students off my plate, because I actually am overstretched right now with students, which is a blessing, but also it's difficult. So I can serve more people in an easier way, and there's no distance issue because it's all online.
Um, auditions can really do a number on a person. We all know that being in audition rooms can be a soul-sucking experience. Trying to be an actor in this town is not easy. Rejections after rejections after rejections. So I mean, you never know what went through the mind of the casting director either. Why they never reveal to you why they don't pick you over the actor sitting next to you. So what I'm getting at is, I'm not an actor, but I feel for actors everywhere on that front. What is your advice for aspiring actors trying to make it in this town? To
Carry
keep pushing
tissue.
through.
That's my advice. Well, it's not easy. I think you have
Yeah.
to build tough skin. I mean, God knows I've cried over several roles I didn't get. I
Oh,
honestly think that staying open as an actor is what you want. So
yes.
closing off and getting hard against the world is not good advice.
Mm,
I would say if it hurts, let it hurt. It's okay to be human and have and grieve a role. Now, I do think the level of grieving becomes way easier the
mm,
longer you're at this. A no is almost expected. After a while, you're like, it's probably going to be a no, but I'm still going to do kick ass work and hopefully do well in the auditions so that casting will call me for yet another job, even if I don't book this one. So the only time it gets hard is if you are starting to audition for the leads of
mm.
big budget things that could change your life. That's when it gets a little personal, right? That's happened to me already this year. I was up for several jobs that I didn't get. And
Mm.
that just goes right to the heart. But what am I supposed to do? Stop? No. So you just kind of keep going.
Man, much respect to you and all the actors out there. On a lighter note, as I'm winding down, of all the shows and films that you've been on, and you've been on quite plenty, of all of them, fun question: which one was the number one most memorable to you? Was it Gracing Shoulders with Glenn Close and Mila Kunis, perhaps?
No, because I remember forgetting my lines when I looked into Glenn's gorgeous blue eyes for the first time. I was like, who am I and why am I here? No, it might be How to Get Away with Murder,
Hmm.
just because I felt every time I walked onto that set, I was so humbled,
Hmm.
to work on this primetime network successful show. And my character, I played a detective. I got a chance to interview almost every series regular for the murder of Wes Gibbons, right? So
Yeah.
when they finally wrote a scene for me to interview Viola Davis, I was like, I've made it, right? So I think that's the most
Yes.
memorable one, and how cool she was on set. I really aspire to be that cool on set, like someone that could do her work magnificently while still just being fun in between takes. That was really a cool acting lesson.
Awesome. Thanks
Yeah.
for sharing that. And finally, the late great Fred Willard. I interviewed him once, and I think it was at the same Carney Awards. And he told me, and I'm paraphrasing this. He told me that actors actors don't necessarily have to shoot to become the next Brad Pitt or the next Tom Hanks, because as long as you can make a living doing gigs after gigs after gigs consistently, you are successful. At least that's what he said to me. Do you agree with that statement? And what was the single best piece of advice that you ever gotten about acting?
Okay, I think the best piece of advice I ever got was to relax, because I know I'm an overthinker. Um, and that's what I would definitely tell my younger self is everything's going to be okay. So just relax. You're working hard. You're doing everything right. Just trust and relax.
Mm,
And yes, I do agree with Fred. In fact, fame is a bonus. It always should be that for a real actor. Real
mm.
actors should not aim for fame. You should aim to qualify for health insurance. Have a job and be grateful that you have money to pay that mortgage or rent, and that you have health insurance, because there are a lot of actors that are desperate to just be in your shoes.
Very well, very well. So, where can my fans find you on social media? Where can my fans follow you and all that stuff?
Oh, yes, please follow me on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and everywhere else. Gloria and Garayua is Garayua. And then if you could pretty please like my Acting for True Beginners Instagram, because I'm trying to up those followers.
Mhm.
It's basically Acting for True Beginners with underscores everywhere.
Awesome, awesome. This has been such an enlightening conversation. Thank you so much for taking the time, and thank you for talking to me, Gloria Garayua.
Thank
Congratulations.
you, Rama.